Hey guys, it's Lockie here from Coast Watch Football for my Round 11 A-League Men's predictions. And I say Round 11, but I'm only saying that for simplicity's sake because this weekend's games, they've been rescheduled in from all over the place. But just to keep it simple, we're calling it Round 11. There's some big games coming up this weekend and some teams back in action who haven't seen a football pitch in almost over a month. So let's jump into it right now. One of those teams back in action after a long time off. Perth Glory taking on Brisbane Roar for a Wednesday night midweek clash. Brisbane heading into this game still looking for the first win of the season. That's the concern for them. They have 2 draws, 3 losses. They did pick up a draw last time around when they travelled away to Sydney FC. For Perth Glory, they're 1 win, 1 draw and 2 losses. Of course, they've only played 4 games so far this season. We have seen some promising signs from Perth Glory, but they do need to improve overall as a team if they're going to be making a push for the top 6 this season. Last season's meetings, you can see here, resulted in 1 win for each, so pretty balanced last time around. It's Brisbane's first home game since December 4, so a big deal for them, and you can see here as well, Perth's first game since December 8. It's been so long, so it's going to be really fascinating to see how Perth Glory are going to respond after having all this time off. They've had some time to get some of the injuries out of the way in terms of, getting those guys back to full fitness. One of those guys being Daniel Sturridge. And as you can see here, this could be Daniel Sturridge's second ever A-League Men's appearance. It feels like so long ago now since when Daniel Sturridge made that bench appearance at home. And he's set to feature. Richard Garcia, Perth Glory coach, has basically confirmed that he will be featuring in this game and has pretty much said that he'll be coming off the bench in this one. And my score prediction, I'm going for a 1-1 draw. Brisbane desperately need a win, and they could get it at home. But Perth Glory can be unpredictable at times, as we know. And with the likes of Bruno Fornaroli, and if Daniel Sturridge does indeed come off the bench, that is goal-scoring threat that they do have. So I'm backing a 1-1 draw in this one. It should be a tight one indeed. Let's keep shuffling on right now, though. Friday night fixture this week. Wellington Phoenix return to Wollongong to take on Western United, which should be a fascinating game. Wellington have been struggling of late. 1 win, 1 draw, and 4 losses. They've been leaking goals left, right, and centre. Western United, we know how impressive they have been to start off the season. Their defence has been impeccable. Aside from those 2 defeats, you can see there, 4 wins, no draws at all yet, and 2 losses, both of those coming to the ladder leaders Melbourne victory. Aside from that, they've been pretty dominant. Well, not necessarily dominant, but defensively dominant. They've been keeping so many clean sheets, and that's been a lot of that's come down to Leo Lacroix at the back, who's been fantastic. You can see here Wellington knocked out Western United. They knocked them out of the FFA Cup in the round of 32 fixture, where that fixture was only played just a month ago now. So these sides have recently met, where Wellington did get the better of Western United. Has to be said though, that game was played with pretty much a second string squad for Western United in that game. Both teams have met, this is the interesting one, both teams have met 7 times, Wellington winning 5 in total, which actually surprised me. I didn't know it was that dominant from Wellington Phoenix. So, that's an encouraging thought for Wellington Phoenix fans. Now, there are some potential debuts to keep an eye on in this game. Sandoval, Scott Wootton, these 2 players who have arrived for Wellington Phoenix. Crucial that they made signings, and both of these guys could potentially make their debut if they are fit. Sandoval, an attacking player, can play out wide. We expect him to play in one of those sort of number 10 roles for Wellington Phoenix, either on the left or right-hand side. And Scott Wootton, he's a centre-back. He's played his football in the lower divisions of England, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him shifted straight into the starting lineup for this game. And for West United, a potential debut for Rennie Crin. He's one of the imports who he arrived in pre-season, and he's sort of been a bit forgotten. He's been out with injury. He hasn't been involved with the side. The defensive midfielder could line up in this game alongside Neil Kilkenny. My score prediction for this one, I'm going to back Western United for the 1-0 victory. Wellington Phoenix have been struggling to find the back of the net. Western United this season are the kings of the 1-0 victories. They know how to keep out attacks. So because of that, I think it's unlikely that Wellington will find the back of the net in this game. Western United to pick up the 1-0 win. Let's keep on shuffling on. Sydney FC, Perth Glory. So Perth, right into the thick of it. Their second game this round, of course, after taking on Brisbane on Wednesday. Saturday night, they're travelling down to Sydney to take on the Sky Blues. Sydney so far this season, 2 wins, 3 draws, 2 losses. It has been a bit up and down still, but they have been looking a little bit better of late. Perth Glory, of course, as we just mentioned, 1 win, 1 draw, and 2 losses. We'll be looking a little bit different after whatever that result is in the Brisbane Roar game. Perth, though, haven't defeated Sydney since the 18-19 season. Sydney lost the FFA Cup, of course, semi-final during the week against Central Coast Mariners. Perth Glory, and another worrying stat here for Perth fans. Perth have only scored twice in their last 7 games against Sydney FC. They've only scored 2 goals in the last 7 games, which is a terrible record. And the last time Perth defeated Sydney away, so last time Sydney lost a home game to Perth Glory was 2016. It's been over 5 years. Sydney have a terrific record against Glory, so it's going to be tough. If Glory are going to be picking up a win this week in the A-League, it has to be away to Brisbane. You'd expect Brisbane have been struggling. It's going to be tough against Sydney FC. Outside, Sky Blues will be wanting to bounce back desperately after getting knocked out of the FFA Cup semi-final to the Central Coast Mariners. And as well, we'll be looking to get back to winning ways after dropping points at home to Brisbane Roar, where they drew 1-1 last weekend in the league as well. So let's keep shuffling on, though. That's the only Saturday game. But on Sunday, we've got a doubleheader. Central Coast Mariners are back home for the first time in a while to take on Melbourne City. Now, this is a really, really exciting game. Heading into this one, Mariners 3 wins, no draws, and 2 losses. City at the moment have been underperforming. They have been underperforming. 2 wins, 4 draws, but only 1 loss. City will be without the suspended Nuno Reis. Of course, he picked up a red card in City's last game out against Adelaide United. That is a big blow. That is a big blow for the reigning champions. Nuno Reis is one of the best centre-backs in the league. Whether Curtis Good is ready and fit to come back, he may or may not be. Roston Griffiths has been slotting in defence, but if Curtis Good isn't fit to come back, it's going to be one of the young guys slotting in to the centre of defence to partner Roston Griffiths. Mariners, of course, won the FFA Cup semi-final during the week. They are coming off that confidence, massive confidence builder after so many weeks out. And of course, hasn't been mentioned here as well, but Mariners coming off the back of 4 consecutive clean sheets. And that is off the back of this centre-back pairing of Dan Hall and Kyle Rolls. They've been without Ruan Tongyik, who was one of their best central defenders last season, and they've been doing it without him. So 4 consecutive clean sheets. That is a big stat to highlight as well. Now, City do have a good record against the Mariners. They've won 5 of their last 6 meetings with the Central Coast Mariners. The only one they didn't win is when Mariners defeated City at home early last season. That was a pretty epic game. A Danny De Silva winner in that game, of course. No, Danny De Silva at the Mariners now at the moment. Both teams were contesting for top place last season. That is an important point to remember as well. For majority of last season, yes, Sydney FC did finish second in the regular season, but for majority of the last season, I mean, Central Coast Mariners were on top of the table for the first half of the season. For the second half, it was Melbourne City. It was really fascinating battles between those 2 teams last season. Of course, Melbourne City winning the 2 fixtures later on the season at home. But it's going to be a really fascinating clash. You know, Mariners have looked strong at home so far this season, yet to concede a goal at home. My prediction, though, I'm going to say 1-1. You know, City with the quality they have. We saw Matt Leckie getting back to, he really stepped up his last game out against Adelaide United, and with Andrew Naboot, Jamie McLaren there as well. It's a dangerous combination that Melbourne City have. Of course, those guys may not be available, though, with of course, the Socceroos stuff going on at the moment. So whether those guys, whether they'll be rested for this game in order to get prepared for the upcoming Socceroos clash, which is less than a week ahead, potentially, but I'm sure Patrick Snorbu will want to get all of those guys out onto the pitch. Later on Sunday, it's Brisbane's second game this round. They'll be taking on Adelaide United. Of course, Brisbane's record might look a little bit different heading into this game. They could get their first win of the season against Perth Glory, but if not, they'll have a tough one here as they take on Adelaide United, who are heading into this game with 1 win, 5 draws, 2 losses. They are the king of the draws so far this season, Adelaide United. They have been up and down. At times they look quite promising. At times they look pretty ordinary. Both teams met in round 3, so they have met earlier this season, ending in a scoreless draw. The round 3 result was their first draw in 15 games, which is just an insane statistic. This fixture, a team always wins. One of these teams always find a way to win, but that round 3 fixture, earlier this season was the first time these teams had drawn in 15 games, which is just incredible. So there's a high probability that one of these teams will win this game. Isaias will return for the Reds after suspension, a big plus for Adelaide United. Such a key cog to that midfield. One day stepped up big time in their last game against Melbourne City in that defensive midfield role, but he'll certainly welcome his defensive midfield partner back there. And of course, keep an eye out for the likes of Hiroshi Ibusuki, who opened his A-League goal scoring account last weekend, as well as the returning Lachlan Brook, who could start in this game. And of course, Adelaide United knocked Brisbane out of the finals last season. Has to be brought up once again. And that, of course, was at the stadium that they're playing this one, Moreton Daily Stadium up there in Redcliffe. So Brisbane still looking for revenge after getting knocked out of the final series last season. My prediction for this one, though, I'm going Brisbane 2, Adelaide 2. I expect this to be another entertaining one. And even though I did say a team always finds a way to win this one, I can see it being quite balanced in this affair. I think Brisbane have shown some promising signs in those 2 games against Sydney FC they recently played. Their result against Perth Glory tonight will determine sort of how they approach this game. If they can get a win midweek against Perth Glory, they'll be confident that they can get 3 points here against an Adelaide United side who has just been quite up and down. But again, it's a similar thing with the Reds. You just don't know what to expect. Will they be dropping the ball in this game? Will they step up? Will they be scoring goals? They always find a way. And as you can see here, they are the kings of the draws. As I mentioned, 5 draws. So a 2-2 could be on the cards as well here in this game. The final match of the season, of the round, is the Big Blue Melbourne Victory hosting Sydney FC. And oh my goodness, dude, there are some incredible stats in this one. I didn't even realize how insane some of these stats were. I'll read them out in a sec. Of course, the form heading into this game, Melbourne Victory, top of the table. 4 wins, 2 draws, only 1 loss so far this season. Sydney FC, yes, it will look a little bit different because they are taking on Perth Glory on the weekend, but of course, heading into this game, 2 wins, 3 draws, 2 losses. And of course, Sydney FC playing 3 days after hosting Perth, so coming off the back of that Saturday home game. Sydney's, and as well on top of that, this will be Sydney's 5th game in 2 weeks. They've been playing midweek games left, right, and centre, FA Cup games, the quarterfinal, semi-final, and then the A-League games on the weekends as well. So their schedule's been pretty hectic of late, the Sky Blues. But here's the crazy stats. Sydney have won all 8 of the last meetings with Victory. Sydney have won the last 8 Big Blues. Now, we know that they've been dominant just recently. Of course, Sydney won all 3 last season. Melbourne Victory really, really poor last season. I didn't realize it was that dominant, though, man. I didn't realize it was that dominant. Sky Blues will be heading into this game, even though Melbourne Victory are on top, knowing that in this derby game, which is one of the biggest derbies in Australian football, that they've won it the last 8 times. That's massive. That is massive. And of course, Victory haven't won a Big Blue since the 18-19 season. It has been a while. But look, I'll tell you right now, and you can see my score prediction right here, actually. Melbourne Victory 2, Sydney 1. I think this is the time where Melbourne Victory finally do turn it around, because they've got Tony Popovich in charge. They've got good players on the park. They're performing well. They'll want to bounce back after they did stumble at home last time out against Adelaide United. They drew 1-1, weren't able to find the winner in that game. That was a dramatic game, which had a very dramatic ending. But I think this is the team to turn it around for Melbourne Victory. This is arguably the strongest Victory side we've seen for a few years, and with a winning coach, with a winning mentality, Tony Popovich in charge. I reckon they will do it. It's going to be a really fascinating game. Of course, is the annual Australia Day clash. But if it is, of course, as you can see, they're January 25th, so just moved it a day beforehand because of the Socceroos clash, which is taking place on the Thursday night at Amy Park. So some massive games this upcoming round for the A-League, and they're all been spread out. We've got a Wednesday night fixture, and it's going. We managed to track all the way across to next Tuesday. Can't wait for it. Make sure to keep an eye on the Coast Football YouTube channel for the live watch-alongs that will be happening throughout this weekend for some of these A-League games. You can stay subscribed to make sure you keep up to date to those. Hey guys, if you have enjoyed this predictions video, feel free to leave it a like, because that does help me out heaps. And feel free to comment below. Let me know, what are your score predictions for these games upcoming this weekend? Some really fascinating fixtures. And again, I'm excited to see Brisbane back at home, excited to see Perth Glory back in action, and potentially another appearance for Daniel Sturridge. Have a fantastic week, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.